Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Noob Pros. I'm AJ, and today we'll be looking at a couple of games and analyzing how to perform under pressure. Now both of the games that I've picked are in my FV215B. I think the FV215B is a great tank. I've had some rather good games in it. It's very easy to play if you know how to side script well, and it has a very good and very accurate gun which aims really fast, and consequently you get to pick up weak spots on enemy tanks rather easily and punish them for making mistakes. So this Lurve decides to exchange shots with me initially. I take a needless shot from him because I just come out in the same spot over and over again without actually trying to move around or do anything. So he punishes me by putting a shot into me. Over here, I put a shot in the IS-4, but since the incredible side armor on that thing, it doesn't do anything. And the traverse speed on the FV215B is rather good enough that I'm able to get back into cover and take no damage for, doing this. At this point, I'm deciding to back off from this corner because I actually thought they were going to push into me. Because I wasn't so sure how committed the IS-7 was on our team that was behind us. So after a couple of minutes, I kind of realized they're not actually pushing. They're just gonna stay there around the corner and trade shots with the IS-7. So I decided, it's time that I go, get into the thick of it as well. Now you have to remember the FV215B doesn't have great frontal armor. Its upper plate is very bouncy. But the thing is, you have to get it to perform, and to get it perform, you either have to side scrape or you have to go hull down completely. Any of those things, generally benefits this tank. Over here, I bounced a couple of shots from the E75 and the VK4502B. The VK4502B after the last patch is actually incredibly hard to pen frontally, so I was thinking for a second to load gold round. Over here, I fire into the side of an IS-4, hoping to track him and actually do damage, but unfortunately for me, it only tracks him. The IS-4 manages to pen my side as I was over angling towards him. I'm trying to figure out what the correct angle is towards the IS-4, and the easy way to do it is to just align your tank towards the gun of the tank you're trying to side scrape, and just angle just a little bit, enough for your tank to sort of poke out and do damage to him. Now the E75 decides now is the time to sort of push into us, since the IS-7 behind us actually died. So I mean, I think he did the right thing at this point. Unfortunately for him, the IS-4 on his team wasn't nearly as good. Now I decided to use the E75 to still cover my lower plate and sort of try to side scrape towards the IS-4. The IS-4 bounces his shot. I decided to load APCR since it's 2 versus 1, and I cannot afford to sort of now actually not pen my shots. So the IS-4 goes there on the other side and actually pens my side. I at first decided to go to the right of the E75 and actually do damage to him, but then the IS-4 comes forward, and that kind of changes my plan, and I use the dead IS-8 at this moment to sort of shield my lower plate and sort of angle my armor towards the IS-4, so only the side of my armor is actually showing to him. The IS-4 fires again, but it bounces. I'm trying to take out the E75, but the E75 is hiding behind the IS-8. So I mean, I could have gone around the left side and actually taken him down, but that would have made maybe taking a shot from him, and which I wasn't really comfortable doing. He makes a mistake of going around, underestimating my reload, and I decided to make him pay. The IS-4 still cannot pen my side. He's trying really hard to do so. I'm not making it easy for him. So I pump shot after shot into his side, which is rather easy to pen at the angle that he's staring me at. And that is all she wrote for the IS-4. So this game, will be again, at one point we will lose numerical superiority over the enemy team, and at this point you have to kind of think on your feet and decide what you want to do, in order to survive. What are your best options? One thing, frankly, that nobody can actually teach you is, performing under pressure. It's something that you have to learn by yourself. It's more of an acquired skill than anything else. It's not easy. It's not easy to learn, but with enough time and experience, it's not hard to do either. So over here on this map, I decided to go into the middle and do my heavy thing. The waffle crosses in the open underneath me, and at that range, the gun of the FE215B is very accurate and rather aims in really fast. And since the tank moves really slow, you can put really good shots while on the move. Though I mean, it's not easy to do, at range. So I decided to just stop and take a shot at the waffle E100. Now I was not as excited to go down as the E100 was because of that. The T110 E4 was down there, spotted last, so I did not know how much health he had. Luckily for us, he didn't have that much health. Now the E100 at this point is not playing this game rather well. He is not side scraping at all, which the E100 should be. Since his the weakest armor he has is his lower frontal plate. So at this point, I fire a shot in the KV4, and he actually, and the E100 follows that up as well. I managed to put one last shot into the KV4 and take him out. Now the SCI, gets a giant shot put in by the E100, and unfortunately for our E100, the 183 decides to come around the corner and actually decides, now is a good time to pin him. Now this is one thing that people should remember. Like, if somebody tries to come across your side, one thing you can always do is pin the front of your tank onto their side, especially in TDs, and what that will do is that will force them to sort of turn with you instead of turning around you. So I decided to do that to the STI, and just pin his tracks forward. So if he decides to go forwards and backwards, he has to take me with him. At this point, I decided to go over and try to take out the FE215B 183. I decided to side scrape, but holy cow, there's a waffle who came over the top trying to kill the E3 who had followed him down. So I decided that the E3 is since after the death of the E3, waffle is the target of opportunity here. Now, at the back of my mind, I was still thinking that the 183 had come over the top to jerk the E100, and I decided to do it this time. Instead of actually doing damage to him, I decided to track him in place so I can actually get in a relatively hull down spot and manage to turn most of the front of my tank that has the good armor towards him. Now, I decided to, take out the 183 first, because the 183's reload probably beats the waffle's reload at this point. And this shot just manages to put the 183 out of the game. Now the waffle, unfortunately for him, is not fast enough to get out of the situation he's in, so I'm gonna put 2 shots into him and take him out. Arguably you could have used HE, but at this point it would still have been 2 shots either way. So it doesn't matter to me at this point. It was a rather easy shot, so either one of those choices could have been easy to make. Now the other thing I do here is decide to go around the corner and take out the E50M, who's been holding this corner for a while. He is actually taking out our waffle, quite large chunks of health. So I go around the corner, and instead of just doing damage to him, I decide to track him and do damage at the same time. Excuse me. And the waffle comes around the corner and finishes him off. So at this point, I'm just going to fast forward towards some of the more eventful time in this game. At this point, I sort of decided to go back to see if some of the enemy team was actually coming to cap, since the last time they were spotted, they were in the north side of the map, and that was quite a while ago. And so I decided that there's enough people going back into the cap for it to be not worthwhile for me to kind of go there as well. Instead, I'd rather go and support the FE422 on the enemy's cap. Now, as I'm cresting over here, and I'm not expecting the E4 to be here. I actually was expecting the E4 to be in our cap or close to our cap. And oh boy, I was surprised to see the E4 over here. I sort of guess where the E4's lower plate would be, and I just fire through the rubble to see if I pen him. I actually did, which kind of just surprised me. You know, and I did not think I was going to pen that shot. I go after the e4, but you know, he's too far deep into the cover, and the fe4 to manage to take him out. Next, I just, you know, follow the t34 and, you know, put 2 shots into him and, you know, secure the top gun on this tank. And this was the ace tanker for the fe215b. So we went from one gameplay where I needed APCR to another one where I actually absolutely did not need APCR. Gold will not make you win or lose a game. It just depends how you use your ammunition correctly. So hopefully you enjoyed these 2 games. Feel free to rate and subscribe, and stick around the channel if you like World of Tanks, because there will be more World of Tank content coming soon. And see you on the next episode.